The morning unfolded in a manner familiar and unremarkable. Only black coffee, my laptop screen shimmering with overdue tasks. Invoices linger, and the pulse of yet another sleepless night weighs heavily behind my eyes.
I found myself lacking the inclination for
much, particularly not for my younger sister Sienna, who storms into my apartment as she so often does. She arrived, uninvited and unannounced, as if the place belonged to her. Before we embark on this journey, we invite you to share your thoughts. What would your course of action be in this scenario? Speak truthfully. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Each comment is carefully considered.
Les commence.
Linnea, my phone has run out of battery. Could I please borrow your charger for a moment? She complained, tossing aside her Louis Vuitton. Slumped on my couch, she let her iPad tumble onto the table with a careless clack. I offered a weary smile and pushed my charger in her direction. I am currently engaged in my work. Indeed, your modest invoice.
Existence.
You're such a saint, she muttered, her voice dripping with sarcasm as she plugged in her phone, all the while unlocking it. The device she cherished. However, she failed to secure it again when she ventured outside to answer a call. That is the moment when all things began to come apart. I never intended to gaze upon it. I assure you, I did not. Yet the screen radiated with light, and there it was, my name, adorned with an asterisk. Linnea was bold in a notification banner from a group chat named Family. My stomach plummeted. Inquisitiveness shattered the barrier.
I gently pried it open.
She's truly a pushover, haha. She'll simply take care of the bills and express her gratitude for the dinner. Sienna, continue to express your gratitude to her, and she will persist in covering your rent. A foolish girl lacks the strength to stand up for herself. Walter, she believes that love equates to sacrifice. Allow her to endure. Simply offer a smile and a nod. Helen, simply feign concern. She is incredibly useful.
Cousin Camille.
The words lacked the sharpness of daggers. They were devices of destruction. I simply remained in place, enveloped in a stillness that captures the essence of winter's breath, breathing as if a rib had been fractured.
On se mord, I delved into the thread.
Repeatedly.
Captured moment. I gâtered des moules.
My hands trembled as I undertook the task. That whole year spent rescuing my Walter's overdue car, settling payments, addressing my sister's credit card obligations, managing Mom's healthcare expenses, and feigning that I overlooked the spa receipts tucked away in the receipts folder, all the while neglecting my own meals, consuming rice and eggs daily to savor steak in secret. My back. And they believed me to be foolish. I refrained from screaming.
Held back my tears.
I settled into my chair, gazed at the luminous display, and made a choice. An unexpected tranquility that took me by surprise. Allow them to continue their musings on the threshold.
Only one more des remins.
Another one.
What about tomorrow?
They would struggle to breathe in the stillness. That evening, I prepared dinner as I typically do.
Meatloaf and
garlic-infused mashed potatoes. Sienna's preferred choice. She dined with her legs casually draped over my couch, as if it were her rightful throne. You are excessively kind to us, Clara. Mom mentioned during our family FaceTime call. She even conjured a tear. Indeed. Walter interjected, chewing thoughtfully. You have consistently been the binding force that unites this family.
Sienna cast appelé Fulwink.
Remain exactly as you are, dear sister. You are flawless in your own unique way. I grinned with a forced cheerfulness. Flawless.
Simply I exist.
While I tidied up the dishes, I opened my laptop and dispatched 3.
Correspondance. One for my accountant. One for my attorney. One for my landlord.
As I extinguished the lights, I observed each one of them depart into the night. None of them were aware of what lay ahead. Approaching. Not a single one of them noticed the tempest brewing. They believed they had outsmarted the simpleton. As dawn broke, a serene stillness enveloped the apartment. Excessively silent.
There shall be no loud knock upon the door.
No messages from Sienna requesting funds for brunch. No calls missed from. My Helen is laying a heavy guilt trip on me regarding loyalty to the family. The only sounds that fill the air are the soft hum of the fridge and the rhythmic tapping of my fingers dancing across the keyboard. I had scarcely drifted into slumber. Yet, it held no significance. A sense of vitality surged through me, more invigorating than I had experienced in years. One last email was dispatched. This time, to my bank. The subject line proclaimed, "Immediate freeze. Merge accounts." With a decisive motion, I powered down my phone. That was the moment. Cease all deposits into Walter's account.
Sise all Venmo. Transaction to Sienna.
There will be no further coverage for my Helen's monthly health insurance. Everything has vanished. They might find themselves seated with their engage in a discussion and determine how to manage their own expenses without relying on the doormat to cover the costs. At the stroke of noon, I ventured outside. Not to flee, but to inhale deeply.
I strolled through the downtown area, moving past the corner.
The cafe, where Sienna had once unleashed her frustration at me for choosing the incorrect milk for her latte. Beyond the boutique where my Helen had unwittingly charged a $1,200 coat to my card, a purchase she still insisted was hers, was marked down. Everywhere I looked, there stood a testament to the countless times I had offered and the scant returns I had received. They returned the favor. Yet that day had shifted its focus, no longer revolving around them. It revolved around my existence.
I entered the law office of Veronica A., the most formidable attorney.
Within the bustling city, I gently pushed the stack of screenshots across the table. She perused the texts, then lifted a single eyebrow. I take it you're prepared to cease funding their presence? I'm not merely finished, I declared. I desire it documented.
I désire a fresh start.
I desire a comprehensive record of all my payments. I require a document for civil restitution should they arrive. Following my lead. Catherine's smile was slender yet piercing. Ah, darling, you've arrived at just the perfect spot. On that fateful night, the storm unleashed its fury. It began with the sound of Sienna's voice, piercing through my voicemail. "Clara, what on earth is going on? My card was declined at Zara. The payment for Dad's car has failed to go through.
And Hélène déclarée.
Her prescription failed to process."
What is happening? Next, a message from my Hélène.
"Darling, could there be an error with the bank?
The balance on my Walter's account read 0.
Kindly address this issue."
Then came a call from my Walter.
I chose not to respond to any of them. Instead, I found myself seated at my desk, with a glass of wine in hand, I observed as the family group chat illuminated with messages, vibrant and lively. Sienna, what on earth is going on? Helen. Clara, please give me a call at your earliest convenience.
Walter.
I solemnly swear. This needs to be addressed promptly.
Camille.
Are you upset about something? That ridiculous group chat? It was merely a jest, Clara.
Sienna.
You are exaggerating. Your emotions have always run deep. I gazed intently at their messages. Individually, in succession. They all rushed about in a flurry.
Unraveling.
They are losing the very ground they have tread upon me for years. At last, I composed a single line.
I pose a vast array of knowledge.
I exited the conversation. Yet, my journey was far from complete. That was merely the prelude. I required them to experience the stillness.
To exist in the void left by the woman deemed indispensable.
I required them to encounter a rendition of their existence devoid of my presence. The following morning, I decided to take a day off from work and set out on a drive to my childhood abode. The dwelling I had nearly settled the cost for. The very abode where I once found solace on a pull-out couch just. Sienna was to have the sole guest bedroom.
I précède the doorbell.
Silence lingered, unanswered. I retrieved the spare key, still concealed within the familiar fake rock beside the steps. I entered the living room and took a seat at the dining table, precisely where my parents once entertained. Those purported family dinners, where they would beam at me while whispering behind my back. Then, I unlatched the suitcase I had carried with me. Within lay each and every receipt. Each bank statement. I possess every document that attests to my payment of over $97,000 for this family throughout the past 5 years. With a deliberate motion, I arranged the folders in an orderly fashion across the table. Upon their return, it would be revealed to them. Everything. There shall be no disputes.
Silence, please. Only the essential. A solitary note affixed to the wall.
I stood as your support. Now rise independently. As the evening unfolded, I found myself staring at my phone, which displayed a staggering 46 missed calls. The most recent one came from my Helen. Her voice quivered in the voicemail. Clara, I assure you, those words were not intended as we expressed them. One often hears the playful banter among individuals. You are accepting it.
Excessive distance.
It has been removed. Their only regret lay in the fact that they had been discovered. And now that the faucet had been turned off, and the cracks began to reveal themselves more swiftly than I had anticipated. The following morning, a knock echoed at my apartment door. Not a text. It is not a call.
A gentle rap échoed through the stillness.
Sienna stood there, her makeup smudged. Hair in a disheveled bun that typically commanded a price of $300 at
A Blowood Bar.
I just want to talk, she said, her arms crossed tightly against her chest. May I enter? Negative. She blinked as if the thought of rejection had never crossed her mind. I expressed my desire to simply talk, she repeated, her voice tinged with defensiveness now. I understand you noticed the conversation. However, your interpretation was misguided. We were merely jesting. I rested against the doorframe. That jest drained my savings. Oh, really now? It seems as though you perceive us as creatures of darkness. Our affection for you knows no bounds. No, I stated, my voice steady and unyielding. Your appreciation for my efforts was evident.
She let out a derisive logue.
Very well.
Embrace the intensity.
You have always been. Yet, in time, you will see things differently. You consistently do. In that moment, a smile graced my lips. This time, it shall not be so.
I closet the door behind me.
As the day wore on, I found myself once more seated opposite Veronica Hayes. She possessed the civility. The complaint packet is prepared and ready for submission. This details each recorded occurrence in which you were financially taken advantage of through deceit. Deceptions by relatives who deliberately distorted their true motives, she remarked. It can be sent in a formal manner or simply made available for their review. I desire for them to witness it, I responded. I wish for them to fully grasp the extent of what they have taken from me, and I am resolute in my decision to move on. She gave a slight nod. I shall. Please ensure it is delivered by courier tomorrow. However, Clara, should you wish to pause at this juncture, simply turn and leave. It is within your capability. I moved without a moment's pause. I do not. It transcended mere vengeance. The essence lay in reclaiming authority. For the first time in my adult life, I found myself no longer contorting my being to maintain harmony. And the silence was a soothing balm. Yet, in families such as mine, silence is a fleeting visitor. Just 2 nights later, my cousin Camille attempted to catch me off guard at the grocery store.
I found myself waiting in line.
A cart brimming with necessities.
Nothing extravagant. Simply genuine nourrissement fort à change.
Not the instant noodles that had sustained me for years.
Clara, hold on a moment.
Camille jogged up, her voice a touch too cheerful for someone who had labeled me a useful idiot just a week ago. In the past. With a graceful motion, she delved into her designer bag and presented me with a gift bag. I wish to express my sincerest apologies. The conversation felt off.
I understand. I feel utterly terrible.
As I unfastened the bag, a world of possibilities awaited within. Within lay a partially melted scented candle and a gift card to Starbucks.
$10. Are you kidding me?
She fluttered her eyelids.
What is this?
I found it quite pleasant. Do you believe that $10 is sufficient for 5 years of manipulation that tugs at the heartstrings and wallets? Her expression hardened.
There's no need for bitterness, Clara. Is it bitter?
I inquired, my tone elevating slightly for the man to look back at me. Absolutely not, Camille. How bitter I felt, toiling away in overtime, all so you could indulge in your girls' trips.
Bitterly, I observed you donnant. Ut fi worth à $12 that I unwittingly financed.
This.
I reset the candlelight.
This is utterly disappointing. I set the bag down on the counter and turned to leave. It was at that moment that everything began. Whispers of speculation.
The family descended upon me with the ferocity of a pack of wolves.
In an instant, I found myself no longer the devoted sister or faithful daughter. I was the frigid fiend who left them in their moment of need.
Yet I stood my ground.
I dispatched the packet of documents to each and every one of them.
Walter,
Helen,
Sienna, Camille.
Every single one of them, accompanied by a concluding note.
From this moment forward, I shall bear the cost solely for my own sake.
On that very night, I at last secured an experience I had long envisioned. A solitary weekend escape to the enchanting landscapes of Vermont. A serene retreat nestled in solitude. Connectivity is absent. Only I remain, accompanied by the serene silence of unfulfilled demands. Upon my arrival, I took a seat by the fireplace. I savored a cup of coffee, perfectly brewed and untouched by the microwave, as I gazed at the gentle descent of snowflakes outside. No shouting.
Hors d'air prevaille. Only tranquillity.
Yet, my tranquility was destined to be fleeting. During my absence, an intruder invaded my apartment.
Upon my return, there was nothing.
Was taken away. Yet, all had been shifted. Upon my kitchen counter, a note in tidy script lay waiting, sending a chill coursing through my veins. 1.
Do you believe you can escape our grasp?
You are not. I lingered in the
threshold of my apartment, my suitcase resting still at my side.
My hand trembled, heart racing, as I fixed my gaze on the note resting on the counter. Do you truly believe you have escaped our grasp? You are not. There is no signature. There are no fingerprints. There was no evidence of forced entry. That single sentence, hastily inscribed in inexpensive black ink on a ragged grocery receipt from
the quaint little shop at the end of the street.
I surveyed the apartment. Everything remained nearly pristine. The couch cushions were arranged incorrectly.
The mug ich cherish most
was positioned at a slight angle on the shelf. A framed photo captures a moment from my college graduation, the sole occasion where Dad was truly present.
Les inverted. Nuanced transgression.
Close connections. The sort of detail that reveals itself only to those who call this place home. It was not a robbery. A message had been conveyed. I reached out to the building superintendent and requested the security footage. He remarked that the cameras possessed has been taken offline for maintenance since 2 days ago. How delightful in its convenience. A police report has been filed. They merely shrugged, a silent acknowledgement of the moment. There were no indications of forced entry, nor was there any theft involved. It was merely a fright stemming from a domestic disagreement. My words fell on deaf ears. Yet, I regarded myself with earnestness. With the dawn of a new day, I took it upon myself to replace every lock. Cameras have been installed. Secured each window with bolts. The security system has been upgraded. I reached out to Catherine. I require a restraining order upon each and every one of them. She let out a breath over the phone. Even your own parents? Particularly those individuals. After a lengthy silence, she finally spoke. I'll get started. Yet, I refuse to be shackled by fear.
Appréhension.
It was their game. Power was their wealth. Thus, I embarked on the singular action I was certain would catch them off guard.
He stepped into the light.
Initially, I penned a lengthy article for a blog titled Real Women Rise, choosing to remain anonymous.
En infiltred, une apologétique narrative anti-LED. The Chronicles of the Dorma.
In what ways my family relied on me, and how I ultimately found the courage to decline. It encompassed every aspect.
The gathering of voices in the digital realm. The exploitation of financial resources.
Years spent in a web of deceit, masquerading as affection. The emotional drain that left me utterly depleted. In a matter of days, it captured the attention of the masses. Responses flooded in. I believed I was alone in this experience. Your courage in speaking the truth is commendable.
My sincere gratitude to you.
This tale belongs to me as well. Exactly as it is. Women from every corner of the nation recounted strikingly similar stories. Sisters who supported their brothers' rent for years, only to receive nothing but manipulation in return. Daughters who tended to ill parents, yet were labeled as indolent. Women who experienced emotional depth, coerced into relinquishing everything until they were utterly depleted. Thus, my narrative transformed into a clarion call. In that moment, the family was engulfed by a wave of panic. Sienna reached out from a distance. Digit. Her voicemail oozed with a saccharine insincerity. Clara, did you really share our private matters with those unfamiliar with us? We have been brought to shame. Are you filled with pride? Then Walter sent a message. Your actions have revealed a certain vulnerability. Forgiveness is a gift that family often bestows upon one another. Those unfamiliar with you will not. My Helen sent me a 4-paragraph essay exploring the theme of forgiveness and the idea that blood ultimately prevails. However, it had become too late. Their story lay in ruins. They had grown accustomed to manipulating me in secrecy. At last, the world recognized them for who they truly were. And I felt no shame. In that moment, I experienced a profound sense of purity unlike anything I had ever known before. Yet, that did not signify the end of their journey. A week later, I found myself. A letter arrived. Formal writing materials. My Walter's name should be emphasized in bold at the bottom. It stated, "You owe us." An analysis of the assertions regarding what I allegedly borrowed throughout the years. Seating arrangements, culinary delights, communal experiences.
Utilities from my collège des atomes.
The sum amounts to $31,042.88.
I found myself logging to the point of tears. Yet Catherine chose not to.
This is a preemptive move, she stated. They seem intent on inciting a legal battle or evoke a sense of compassion from the public. They seek to reshape the narrative. Let them attempt, I declared.
Hypostrus.
They possess falsehoods. Yet, they found themselves no longer in solitude. The blog had captured the interest of A.
Nathan Carter.
Based in New York. After perusing my tale, he reached out to me. Clara, have you thought about sharing this on air? For a moment, I paused. This tale has already made a difference for many, he remarked. Yet, what of your voice? Listening intently.
The bravery you possess. The anguiche you endure.
Your fury. It has the potential to extend even further. Thus, I acquiesced. The episode was recorded under my true name. At last, I voiced everything that had been kept inside. Each act of treachery. Each and every dollar. Each emotional scar I had mended with the quietude of my own silence. The episode was broadcast on a Thursday. By Saturday, it reached an impressive milestone of 2 million downloads. People were not merely listening. They were replying.
Dispatching correspondance. Contribution.
Expressions of unity. Even attorneys providing their services without charge. And in an instant, I transformed from the girl weeping in the shadows. No longer.
Y embodier the tempeste.
3 days following the release of the podcast, an email landed in my inbox. Topic: The family has decided to withdraw the lawsuit. They had retreated. Catherine has given her confirmation. The judge was not convinced. They succumbed. It was not a matter of justice, it was a fight for survival. They had at last come to understand that fear no longer held sway over me. 2 weeks later, I found myself in a new apartment. More compact. More subdued.
Belongingtume.
Unannounced visits are not welcome. Texts devoid of guilt.
Only tranquility.
Achieved tranquility.
On acquis afternoon, ac knock échoed through the stillness.
Sienna was the one. Without any adornment. There are no designer garments. Only eyes brimming with what could have been regret. She extended a neatly folded letter. Kindly. Simply take a moment to read it. I accepted it, shut the door behind me, and never looked back. Time slipped away, month by month. I embarked on a journey to teach financial literacy workshops specifically designed for women. I revealed to them the truths I had yet to discover. Stating, "No, it doesn't make you unloving.
It grant you libération."
One day, as I strolled by a cafe window, I came to an abrupt halt. Within the confines of our home, my parents sat in the company of Sienna. They appeared weary, more mature, shattered, much like the expressions of those who find themselves stripped of their power. I observed their laughter unfold. For a fleeting moment, the familiar pain resurfaced. Yet, I continued my stride. They were bound together. At last, I discovered my true self.